The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. A Game 6 masterpiece for the New York Knicks. They led by 27 at the half. Josh Hart had 10, every Knicks starter in double figures. Karl-Anthony Towns had a great game and a great start. And the Knicks eliminate the Celtics 119-81. Knicks into the conference finals for the first time since 2000. Great to have you with us here from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Alan Hahn and Wally Szczerbiak. No one on the planet had the Knicks winning this series. No one, I don't think, thought the Knicks would win this game by 38 points. The biggest game they've had in 25 years, they could not have played any better. They wiped the Celtics off the court, Wally, from start to finish.
That's why we love sports. It's the ultimate reality TV. You never know the outcome. What a performance. Adjustments right and left by Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks. And that building, it was electric. Just awesome.
Mikal Bridges, a big game tonight, 22 points, now joins us from across the street. Mikal, congrats on your play. Congrats on your team's phenomenal play. How did you guys make it look so easy?
Just playing hard, man. You know, shout out to them, though. They compete. I know they have their man down, and they fighting for him. Utmost respect for them, you know, how much they grind, how hard they play. But we just came out there with intensity and from the jump, you know, and I'm just proud of everybody and really happy about the third quarter. You know, you could be up a lot in that half, come out third, give them some energy, and I think we started off that third really well. So, you know, I'm really happy.
Mikal, I was in that building. I was getting chills. Those fans were unbelievable. What was it like to play in that game in front of those fans?
Man, it's amazing. It makes you want to make every shot, makes you want to get every stop. You know, you don't want nobody scoring you. You want to make the play. You want to make the pass. You want to do everything right. So, you know, shout out to the fans, man. They give us so much confidence to go out there, and you know, happy we could have done it here.
Mikal, congrats to you and your teammates, and best of luck in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers. Game 1 is Wednesday night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Talk about the start, Wally. I mean, the Knicks, they were stifling on defense early in the game, and Bridges had 10 points in that first quarter. Really helped key the Knicks' great start.
It all started with the adjustments that the coaching staff made. There were no open looks for that Boston Celtics team. Derek White had to shoot 30-footers if he wanted to get three-point attempts up. And their sense of urgency, you could see a level that this team can get to. That was championship basketball, the way they played in that whole entire game, and especially in the first quarter, the way they set the tone. I saw Derek White shaking his head on a few plays. When Deuce McBride hit that three in his face in the second quarter, he was like, we got no shot tonight. You could see it in your opponent's face. When you have taken their heart and ripped it out of their chest, they had no chance to win this game because of the way the Knicks came out at the beginning.
38-point win is the largest margin of victory the Knicks have ever had in a playoff game. The previous high, 36 against the Bucks all the way back in 1970. Talked about the Knicks start. How about the assertiveness early, Alan, for Karl-Anthony Towns? 10 of his 23. I should say 11 of his 23 came in the first quarter.
Yeah, he was in attack mode. He was embarrassed about what Game 5 looked like for him and the way they were able to defend him and bring over the spy and Luke Cornett. And he decided, get me out on the perimeter and let me work. And he went one-on-one against bigs. You see, there comes Cornett, but it was too late. He had his shooting touch on, and then he had smaller players on him. He went beast mode. That's right, flex on him, Cat. Let him know. And how about the board work, too? Boxing out, finishing strong around the basket. This was the Karl-Anthony Towns that everybody was looking for. He gave you a double-double, 21 and 12. But it was just special the way he started the game. He's the one that really got it going in the building because you could tell the fans wanted to see this kind of performance. This was not only for him, but it felt like, as well, you talked about being in the building, this was like a catharsis in that building. I mean, this was so many fans have been waiting a long time for a game like this and a feeling like this, and it was special. And to have Karl-Anthony Towns, the new player, but a guy who knows the Knicks well because he's a guy from New Jersey, to have him started off the way he did, boy, did that set a tone.
I think the performance that this team put together in this game, it is the final piece to all their confidence coming together. Because you got to remember, Cat's a new guy. He just came this year. It takes a little bit of time to go through ups and downs like this team has gone through, losing a game 5 in Boston the way they did, and then bouncing back the way they did, the way they responded, the way that locker room responded, the way OG Anunoby bounced back after 1 for 12, Mikal Bridges, the way he played in this whole entire playoff so far. This team is growing right before our eyes, And I don't think they know how good they are. They showed how good they can be. And this team is a legitimate title contender to win it all already this year.
You guys have been talking about Anunoby. Wally, you just referenced him. 23 points, only 6 in the last game, and 2 others in the series in single digits. Not only did he score, but his blocks early in the game really helped set the tone.
Yeah, and Jaylen Brown, he was good in the first quarter. Had 13 in the first quarter. He's trying to keep the Boston Celtics in the game. But it was just an avalanche of defenders all over Jaylen Brown, just locked in to stop him and not let him do anything. And then Anunoby got going with that dunk. He missed his first couple shots. They were wide open looks. But once he saw the ball go through the rim with that dunk, he just completely just let his instincts take over. And that's what you do when you are completely in flow and in rhythm, and that's what great players do. The shot quality that this Knicks team was generating today, Alan, it was outstanding. Jalen Brunson was getting whatever he wanted for himself and then creating wide open shots. Step-in threes, high percentage looks, just a complete team effort and a dominating performance.
And a lot of it came off their defense. Again, into transition, into speed. Now, their defense gets set. They scored 22 points off of Boston's turnovers. So that was also a big part of this, is being able to get your defense set, but also attacking their defense without it getting set. And this was the game where you started to feel like the Tatum loss. Because Brown was struggling. The Knicks were bottling him up. You mentioned Derek White. They gave him no airspace whatsoever, so he couldn't get off to that fast start he likes to get off to. He wasn't getting off threes, and they shot under 30% from 3. Now, keep in mind, in their wins in this series, they shot 47% from 3. In their losses, they shot 27%.
Right.
So that just showed you right there. You've got to take that away from them, and they have no other answer because they don't have a one-on-one player anymore in the lineup.
White only scored 8 points, 3 of 11 from downtown.
Yeah, he
actually
was on
2 of 8 from downtown.
Well, they treated him like a star. They treated him like a star. It's okay. You're scoring. He was 10 of 15 on open threes in the past 2 games. They said, we're taking that away. They treated him like a star. You saw Bridges following him around everywhere.
The communication and transition. You talked about their transition defense being a key to the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were picking up guys right when they set foot over half court.
Yes.
It wasn't like run back to the paint and build out. It was right when they crossed half court. The Knicks had a guy on White, Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. I mean, it was aggressive defense, full court almost, to make sure those guys don't get any quality looks. And the Celtics still tried to shoot threes. I mean, still got 49 up, but the quality of their threes, you knew those weren't going in, a lot of them.
You remember my stat to watch, the minus 35 of the starting 5? I mean, this game, everybody.
Knicks starters coming into this game minus 35
in the
terms
series.
Of point difference.
And Jalen Brunson said, that's a problem. We got to fix that. Well, you had 4 starters in 20, and Josh Hart gave you a triple-double. Like, that's what your starters did in this game in winning time, and that says a lot about that group and how aware they were, where they are, of what they did in Game 5 and how much they were able to make up for it in one game.
I also want to point out, 27-point halftime lead, tied for their largest halftime lead in a playoff game since May 8th, 1970. Wow. That's when Willis Reed came down the tunnel and the Knicks won Game 7 against the Lakers. May 8th, 1970, they led the Lakers by 27 at the half. Tonight, they led the Celtics by 27 at the half. And again, the 38-point playoff win, their largest playoff win ever. And we have a lot more to get to. It's an hour-long post-game show, maybe even longer. We were with the crowd at halftime, a wild scene, the coach, and much more post-game reaction coming up.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Knicks blow out the Celtics. They win the series in 6 games. They're now on their way to take on the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Last time the Knicks wrapped up a playoff series at home, 1999, against the Indiana Pacers. Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell and company beat the Pacers, of course. They went on to lose in the finals that year, but they won at home, and that was 26 years ago as the Knicks now wrap up a playoff series on their home court. Rick Brunson, by the way, was a player on that team.
There he is right there in the background as he turns around. Allen Houston had 38, I think, in that game. He was phenomenal.
All right, so the Eastern Conference Finals are set. Knicks and the Pacers. They actually met in 2000 as well, and the Pacers won that series. Game 1 is Wednesday, 7:30 for the pregame, hour-long postgame show after Game 1, and every game the Knicks play against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. We've talked a lot about the starters, Wally. How about the series of Deuce McBride?
Ooh.
Especially effective tonight, early with his defense, and ended up with 10 points.
Yeah, and the playoffs are all about matchups. He struggled a little bit against Detroit because they had big guards that they came in with off the bench especially. But this series, he was up against Peyton Pritchard a lot, and that's a guy he can defend. That's a guy that he can get open looks against, and he was really good. I mean, we're talking like 58% from the field in this series. He was 4 for 7 tonight, and 54% from 3. How about the defense, the chase down block? I mean, the ball movement was really outstanding.
Unbelievable.
And he's got great, that was really good. And Deuce throwing it down right there. He's got great chemistry with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson does a really good job of when he's on the floor, knowing I got to get Deuce some open looks to get him into the rhythm of the game. That's what a point guard does. He knows how to get his guys going. And I think Jalen did a good job of finding Deuce a ton in this series.
And they're coming into this game, because the numbers haven't updated yet, Deuce in this series was shooting over 50% from 3 and 50% from the field. And it's the impact that you're looking for from a guy like him off the bench. Because you know he's bringing the defense, but if he can give you a pop of offense, I mean, that's special. And you're going to need that in the next series now against Indiana. Really puts up a ton of points. So he could be an important.
Him and McConnell.
Yeah, that's another personal.
That's a perfect
like, you got to
matchup
take
for
that
him.
personal, right? Those matchups, guy off the bench.
When you start preparing for a team, you start thinking to yourself, okay, who am I going to be guarding? Who's going to be my matchup? And he's got to start thinking about T.J. McConnell, because T.J. is tough. He's competitive. So is Deuce. Those are two guys that have really carved out outstanding NBA careers so far, and that's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
All right, guys, Monica McNutt across the street helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. She's standing by with a special guest. Monica, who do you have?
Well, I mean, I almost don't recognize you not in a suit.
Monica, it was so weird. I came, nobody was talking to me. Nobody even looked at me. It was weird. Really casual, but I brought my work clothes tonight. Let's go to work, guys, right? And they did.
The team absolutely did that. So back to the Eastern Conference Finals, Clyde. Just what went through your mind sitting courtside and being able to take this one in as a member of this organization?
Well, sitting here courtside, I saw how physical the game is, but the defense was intense. They kept the Celtics 35 feet away all night. So they started missing those jumpers. Knicks were getting back in transition.
I think you were sitting on the baseline right where Jalen Brunson drew the 5th foul on Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, right. Starks, man, he and Marbury, they're crazy, man. They need a seatbelt when they're over there.
I have heard those guys are great. Guys, I don't know if you guys got this note, but Josh Hart had his first playoff triple-double tonight. He joined you.
I hate that guy.
Wait a minute. He joined you as one of the guys that has been able to accomplish that. I think you did a game 1, 72 versus the Lakers. Was your playoff triple-double. But, Josh, I mean, we could talk about so many of the guys on this team, Clyde, but let's just start with Josh and his performance tonight.
Well, he's the heart of the team. I mean, I saw the black eye. He was undaunted by that. You know, the good rebounding. So he grows on you. You just watch him. He just does whatever it takes to win a game. You know, he doesn't worry about the points and that. And like in the regular season, he broke my record, too. I think, nine triple-doubles in the season. So, yeah, he's the heart of the team.
I felt, and I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt good coming into this game because of the team's record after losses. Now they improved to 4-0 after losses. But for this one to be over in the third quarter, and I know we are television and radio professionals, I was almost without words. What can you say about the dominance of tonight's performance?
Well, they came out from the get-go. You know, the previous game they had to get down to get up. But tonight they came out from right away. Like I said, the defensive intensity, the way they were moving the ball, they took away their confidence, the Celtics' confidence.
Well, you're very familiar, producer Spencer Julian says. We got one last question. So anything else you want to say to the guys before we got to send it back to Pidto?
No, I think we're back in the high life again. The Pacers are no pushover. We know that. It's going to be a tough series, but hopefully this time we can capitalize on the home court advantage.
Of course. No one can say it quite like you. All right, guys. We're going to finish enjoying it here on the court. Y'all enjoy that studio life.
Party like it's 1999.
Monica, Clyde, thank you so much. Cannot beat having Clyde Frazier stopping here on the postgame show.
Even in the Puma shirt, he still looks smooth, doesn't he?
He does.
He doesn't need a tie. He still looks smooth.
I'll tell you, that courtside celebrity row was
big time.
Big time. Lenny Kravitz.
Woo. Yeah, Buster Rhymes.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Ben Stiller, Timothy Chalamet, all the regulars, Edie Falco,
usuals.
like all of them being there. Like it's
Strahan.
like I said, yeah, just talking to different people in the arena that we've seen over the years. That's why I said it was a catharsis. So many fans were just like, man, we've been waiting for
energy in that
this.
place. It was banana. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally getting chills watching every basket, every play. It's just
The reaction.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. You have to experience what that does to your body, the adrenaline that you feel, even as a fan. I can only imagine what the players felt.
Winning at Madison Square Garden.
And guys, how about hats off and a big congratulations to Tom Thibodeau.
Yep.
Totally.
What a remarkable
100%.
coaching job. The Knicks now have taken that next step. Last couple of years, of course, they didn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals. This year, they are on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Here's Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments, as always, presented by Chase.
Yeah, I thought start to finish was terrific. And also, want to congratulate the Celtics on a terrific season. Unfortunate injury to Jason Tatum, but they're a terrific organization, ownership, front office, coaching staff. Joe Mazzulla's a terrific coach, great players, first-class organization. Hats off to them for the season they had and defending their championship.
Coach, congratulations on getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Would you say tonight's performance was the best in the postseason?
Probably, and we knew we would have to play 48 minutes against them. They're terrific on both sides of the ball. They play their style no matter what. And so they're not going to hand you anything. You have to earn it, and I felt that we did that.
Tom, it seemed from the start, and then even when the league got to 30, you guys were beating the loose balls and stuff. The urgency you had talked about, was that kind of on display there all game long?
Yeah, and again, it's how you respond to the challenge that's in front of you, and so, and we can't get carried away. Obviously, it's a great win, and we advance, and you look at that, but you also understand you have to get ready for the next series, and we know that Indiana's a terrific team, and we're going to have to be ready.
Tom, you guys obviously, through the first few games of the series, dug a bunch of holes that you had to fight back from. Today, you guys jump out to a huge lead. Just, was there a difference in approach? Did you sense that the team was going to come out?
You got to win games different ways. So every game's different. Then there's really no carryover from one game to the next, other than you have to be ready to win that game that particular night and understand, what you need to do in order to do that. And I think when you understand that part of it and you understand how important your preparation is, that gives yourself the best chance to win. So you learn from each game and you try to move it forward.
Tom, Mitch had a bunch of strong defensive possessions in that game. He had one in the first half where, transition closes out on Drew Holiday. Holiday ends up kicking to Brown in the corner. He takes away another three from Brown and then ends up getting the steal. So what's going through your mind when you watch a guy with that length just be able to take away that many shots in a row?
He's very athletic. He anticipates well. But I thought overall our team commitment and defensive transition, guys were covering for each other. They were communicating really well, and they understood what we had to take away in order to win. And it doesn't really matter whether you're talking about defensive transition or you're talking about pick and roll defense. It has to be clean, and it has to be concise, and it has to be tied together. And so when you do that, particularly against a team that's as well versed as they are and with their ability to shoot and spread you out, you have to be very disciplined. And so I thought we were tonight.
Hey, Tom, Josh Hart, triple-double. What did you make of the way he impacted this game?
Yeah, and that's who he is. It's like he impacts the game a lot of different ways. Sometimes people get stuck on, well, he didn't shoot the ball or he didn't do this. Well, Josh, what he is a basketball player. So it's transition, it's the pace, it's playing out of the pocket, it's making corner threes, it's doing all those dribble handoff, hustle plays, offensive rebounds. And then defensively, just being everywhere and then coming up with big rebounds. Then I think when you play with that kind of effort, it's inspiring to the team.
Tom, we talked a lot about how the next step for this franchise is getting to the conference after consecutive second rounds, getting to that conference finals. How
Well, and I think the way you have to look at it is whatever your ceiling is, or that's what you're striving for, and you're trying to go past whatever the expectations are for you. And if everyone commits to that, the challenge is to bring the best out of everybody. And so the goal is always to win a championship. And so we've got 8 wins, you need 16. Right? And each one gets harder and harder. So you got to keep fighting. And you got to understand how important that is.
Tom, any early thoughts on Indiana and the problems that they pose and how they play and just the matchup in general?
And again, style of play, and they're an excellent basketball team, strong on both sides of the ball. Their ability to push the ball, so defensive transition. But when you look at their guard play, particularly with Halliburton, Nembhard, and McConnell, and they can push and they can break you down off the dribble. So you got to be very disciplined in your approach. They can spread you out. Siakam and Turner are very talented bigs. So we understand what the challenge is.
Coach, you talked about.
Guys, play nice.
Coach, you always talk about different moments during the game. Can you go back to that second quarter when you guys went on that long run, the end of the first quarter going into the second quarter? What did you see that the team really executed there?
Well, I think, there's always going to be a lot of runs in every game. And I think when you're playing a team that shoots the volume threes that they do, there's a variance in the game. There could be swings that very, very quickly both ways. And so you have to understand, the discipline that you need. And then I felt like we were able to get stops, which got us into the open floor. And then we got some easy baskets, and that fueled our offense. And so I think being strong on both sides of the ball and then making good rim reads, making good decisions when we got in there, I thought that was important as well.
Cat seemed to come out with a different mindset tonight, offensively and defensively. What did you see in him tonight?
Yeah, I thought that helped set the tone for the game. I thought super aggressive to start off the game, got established, in the paint, and then the rebounding, and his pick and roll defense was outstanding. So I think that, we have to play off that, but it gives us another threat. I thought we had a really balanced attack. I thought OG and McHale were phenomenal. Right, and with the defensive pressure that they were applying.
Coach, coming into the playoffs, there's a lot of talk about Cleveland and Boston, who are ahead of you, coming out of the East. Not only have you advanced, but you're now the home team. How much is that going to help in the next round?
Well, I think the important thing is to understand what goes into winning, and it starts with your preparation. So I think understanding we have to know Indiana extremely well, and then just concentrate on being ready for that first game. In the playoffs, you have to earn your wins. They're not going to be given to you because you're home or you're road. You have to earn them with your play. And so I think that's the most important thing, is understanding what goes into your preparation.
This defensive strategy that you generally had throughout the series, especially like switching more on ball screens than you had throughout the regular season, when did you know you were going to do that against the Celtics? Like when you're playing them in the regular season, are you thinking about doing that in the playoffs?
You're getting more and more information, and then there's bigs that you go into the season with a plan for switching. Like you're going to switch in certain situations, and there were guys we weren't switching with. But then you also have to read the ball in the game. So sometimes maybe you're not in a particular switching group, but there's penetration and there's a problem. So that you have to recognize there's a problem. You got to take care of the ball, right? So that would put you into a switching situation. And so there's a lot that you do. You have to be good at your coverages. You have to be good at switching. You have to be good at blitzing, and then you have to be good at finishing your defense. Because anytime you put two on the ball, or the other thing is when you're switching and you got a big on a small, you're going to be vulnerable to being out rebounded unless you make the commitment to get back to bodies. And so there's a lot of discipline that goes into it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Look at the scene outside MSG. Celebration indeed. Well-deserved for the fan base, that is for sure. We're going to hear from Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla when we come back after this. Welcome back. One of the reasons few, if anybody, gave the Knicks a chance in this series, they were swept by the Celtics in the regular season, but they become the fourth team, the Knicks, in NBA history to win a best-of-7 playoff series against a team that swept them in the regular season. But Joe Mazzulla and his Celtics are done as they're eliminated in 6 games.
It was a perspective. At the end of the day, we set a goal out. We didn't achieve that goal. But shouldn't take away, from me, from the mindset and the effort that the players put in. So, we have a responsibility and ownership. We didn't do it, but the approach, the process to it, you can't ask for any more from the guys. So I thought they gave it everything they had throughout the season. Obviously we didn't achieve that, but you can't take away from what they did. And, this is the price you pay for trying to go after something, and that's how it goes. But I'm really just thankful to the guys, for who they are as people and what they've done as players, what they've done as a team.
Joe, now that you're on the other side of it, just what was the emotional toll of this series, the way it went with giving up big leads at home, and then obviously we got punched midway through. What's the emotion kind of flowing through?
There wasn't really much emotion there. It was that's just the way it goes. You can't have an expectation that a series is supposed to go a certain way. Obviously, losing a player to that type of injury was tough, but that's part of it. And you move on. You move on as a team, and that's it.
Joe, you've talked a lot about champions not being able to get out of the second round. You guys were, cruising along, 60-win season. You got through that first round. It was tough, but you got through it pretty quickly. What is it about the second round that all of a sudden everything seems to just change? Almost, let's see, you look like a different team, but a lot of things change.
Oh yeah, I think that's what we'll spend the summer looking through is the differences that would have that, but that's obviously a psychological hurdle over the last 7-8 years now, and so spent time studying that this off season. Just wasn't able to get through that hurdle.
Actually, guys, 6th straight year in which the defending champ has not gotten out of the second round. And you look at big picture here for the Celtics, Allen, they got cap issues. Jason Tatum likely could miss most, if not all, of next season. The Celtics, this could be the last we see from this group.
Yeah, the way it looks right now, it could be the last we see of it. They've got some big decisions to make with their payroll when it has to do with the 3rd year now going over the luxury tax. It's more punitive. The restrictions against you and what you can do really changes the way you can
new owner coming in.
Roster. There's a lot of things in Boston to keep in mind, and that still is amazing. The NBA will not have a repeat champion for now 6 years in a row, where we went through so many years of super teams and everything like that. They're going to have a new champion again this year, but it feels like for them that reliance on the 3 was something that was noticeable. Under 30%, they were 0-4 in this series. When they were over 40%, they won both those games. That was the difference. The formula for them is you take away their threes, and they're beatable.
Yeah, well, they had leads in most of the series. They gave away those first 2 games.
And part of giving away those leads were they kept shooting threes even though they were missing them.
Yeah, but
remember that first game was insane. They took 60 of them.
Yeah. Listen, that's the way they play. They won a championship doing it. They've built themselves a pretty team that was pretty close to being a dynasty. A lot of people picked them to win the title this year, but the Knicks came up with a heroic effort. Knicks were hungry. They got a few breaks to go their way, and now the Knicks are moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Celtics are going home.
All right, up next, the guys at the Wally Wall. The defense, especially early in the game, the key. Derek White and company held in check. Derek White only had 8 points. Guys, we'll talk about the Knicks D coming up. The scene on 7th Avenue outside MSG. Let it rip, Knicks fans. Look at the excitement. Look at the crowd. Allen and Wally going to need a helicopter to get home, guys. Let's go over to the Wally Wall with Allen and Wally.
Yeah, let's put that on the wall. You can tell there's a lot going on out on 7th Avenue. Great. It is a party, and the party continues as the Knicks move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. How'd they get there? A blowout win in Game 6 at Madison Square Garden. And it starts with a lot of defense. Early in this game, the intensity on the Knicks defense was special, and Mitchell Robinson comes up with a huge play in the corner, closing out on Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, the intensity and the aggression and the urgency. Freeze it here. Look at this. Peyton Pritchard's open. The hustle over here by Deuce McBride to come over here. Mitchell Robinson, he was maybe going to take away that three, but he realized, I better get back to this guy because we know that guy is an unbelievable shooter in Derek White. So look, Mitchell Robinson ready to go. Josh Hart's got his back. Now Mitch has got to find someone. So now they're in full rotation. Mitch, as a big man, he's so versatile. He can go guard the three-point line. Look, he's talking to his teammates. Does a good job moving his feet. Run him off the line. You don't want to shoot threes. We've been talking about that, Alan. So look, he moves his feet, and Cat's coming over to help. Look at this. And this is the effort that's incredible. He's wide open, takes a little bit too much time, fumbles the ball. Mitch comes out and takes away that three and puts him in the coffin corner, locks him up. Turnover number whatever by Jaylen Brown, and the crowd erupted on this play. And look, this is only an 11-point game. This is early in the second quarter. Yeah, that three if he would have hit that three, it could have cut it to 8. Jaylen Brown was rolling at that point. That is just max effort, and that's what Tom Thibodeau wants from his guys on a nightly basis, to get out and defend that three-point line.
That's exactly why the Knicks waited all season for him to come back. That kind of quickness, versatility for a big man. Turnover number 7. He had 7 turnovers, Jaylen Brown, today in this game. 7 turnovers. Tough. Meanwhile, for the Knicks, a little bit later on in the process, in the second quarter, they went on a run that blew this game open. But this was one magical sequence that really got the crowd going and got the Knicks going, their first 20-point lead.
Yeah, Deuce McBride, what a play here. And OG Anunoby, he's trying to make a play just a little bit. Derek White shot that gap quick. Now freeze it here. Look at the way Jalen Brunson hustles to at least get ahead of Derek White and make him change directions a little bit, and that allows his other defenders to get back into the play. This was important for Brunson to hustle back and at least make Derek White change a little bit of direction and hesitate to get around him. And then Deuce McBride, he's lining this one up here. And he elevates, almost hits his head on the rim, gets it before it hits the backboard, lands awkwardly, but he's fine. Now Josh Hart, quick to the loose ball, the best in the NBA, takes it to the basket here, and this is good defense by the Celtics. They've got everything set up. Mitchell Robinson's in a good spot, corner's open, but Josh, when he puts that ball in his left hand, I love what he does. A little Euro step, gets the contact, and floats it in and frees it here. Keep an eye on Peyton Pritchard right here. When that ball goes in and the lead goes to 20, he's like, oh, man, you got to be kidding me. Look at that. Look at his face. The expressions on the Boston Celtics.
Porzingis.
They felt like they were playing against 20,000 Knicks with that crowd when that ball went in that basket sometimes. They knew that they were defeated with the way the Knicks came out and where the energy of that building was to start the game.
Lead got to 20 right there, turned to 37, turned to 40 at some point in the second half as well. And the party certainly was on. Deuce McBride, 10 points off the bench. Saw that block, also had a steal. Now we've got him in the locker room.
So Deuce, first appearance for the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years, just the emotions that you're feeling right now.
Man, all glory to God. We did it as a team. I mean, no egos here. It was all, a lot of sacrifice. And, like I said, all glory to God.
What impressed you the most about the defensive effort that the team put forth tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely knew we had to step up, and the game before we were not ourselves. I felt like, even myself, I wasn't as up to par as I should be. But like I said, we refocused and got the job done tonight.
Can you talk about how strong you played with the lead? Because once you got a big lead on them, you never let them get back.
Yeah, I felt like, our third quarter was probably the best third quarter of the season. Honestly, we came out and we didn't let up, and that's important.
You guys have been playing from behind a lot of this series today. You guys had the first punch. Just what was there like a message pregame? Did someone say something, or what was the mindset coming into this one?
Yeah, it was time. It was time for us to play with the lead and play tough with the lead, and be the more physical team and outlast them.
How much can you enjoy this before turning to the Indiana Pacers?
I always like to live by the 24-hour rule. Enjoy it for the night, and tomorrow heal up and get ready for them.
What can you take from this game to start the next series with success, the kind of pace that you want to set?
With a team like them, they get out in transition, they get a lot of threes up, and they play well together as a team. So we just want to make sure we're locked in, communicating, and understanding that we have to set a defensive presence.
OG Anunoby went for 12 in Game 5, but 7 of 18 tonight, bouncing back and great defense as well. His post-game reaction when we come back. How about that for a scene outside MSG on 7th Avenue as Knicks fans celebrate the Knicks' first Eastern Conference Finals berth since 2000. Here's OG Anunoby talking about Mitchell Robinson after the game.
It's amazing. Mitch is one of one. I don't think anyone else his size in the league can do what he does. So he's a special player, and I just appreciate it. It's amazing to watch.
What was the difference defensively tonight?
Just communicating and just adjusting and responding to the film from last game, trying to correct the mistakes we made and then going out and executing.
Can you talk about the way you played with the lead and maintained it and could even give them a chance?
Just continuing to attack and be aggressive and hunt open shots and move the ball, not getting complacent, just continuing to try to score.
How exciting is this whole situation right now going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Oh, it's awesome, but we want to keep going, so we're not content, just keep going.
2 years in a row against Indiana. I know it was a tough one for you last year. You guys lost in 7, and you missed essentially the last 5 games of the series. Just how tough was it?
Oh, Indiana's a great team. They had a great series against Cleveland. We're going to watch the film and go from there.
What's the big difference between Game 5 and 6? How you guys were able to flip it like that?
Just responding to the film. We watched the film. We saw things we weren't doing well, and just responding, just going out there and correcting it, making it an emphasis to get back and communicate more and just contest more shots.
How was it out there in court, with the fans going crazy like that?
Oh, it was amazing. We have amazing fans, so it's really cool.
MSG lit up in Knicks colors. Why not? 38-point win over the Celtics, largest playoff margin of victory the Knicks have ever had. Sets it up, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals from MSG. Knicks and the Pacers pregame at 7:30. And as will be the case throughout the series, an hour-long postgame show after the game. Let's now listen into 4 of the 5 Knicks starters at the podium.
This is for either any of you or all 4 of you. Obviously, you guys are the first group to do something that no Knicks team has done in 25 years. I know you guys play to win championships, but could you feel how important a win like this was in this building to the people that have been here longer than you guys have and that ride?
It was definitely felt the energy. The way they've been supporting us all year, it's been remarkable. So I'm just really happy that we were able to do that.
Not this year, not just next year. Big picture.
Big picture. Yes, sir. Get there.
Kat, you came out aggressive. How important was it to set the tone today, and how much of that was a concerted effort for you to come out and do that?
We talked about the importance of this game, and my teammates trusted me in those positions to score, and I'm glad I was able to repay their trust with some buckets. So it's a really testament to my teammates, get me involved and allow me to be aggressive, and it's because of these guys up here that we got the win.
Jalen, I know you guys as a whole somewhat were not pleased with the intensity levels and everything that happened in Game 5, and then tonight it just seemed like it was the exact opposite sort of energy from you guys. Where do you feel like that came from? Why do you feel like it was such an obvious swing?
Just the way the whole day of Game 5 just wasn't us. And we knew that. We reflected on it, and we came back. We knew that we needed to be ready, needed to be better. The way we prepared, the way we talked out there, the way we made it an emphasis to have each other's back and continue to cover for each other. It's focused on the defensive side of the ball, and when we're doing that, offense, we're flowing. And so we just got to focus on the little things, and we did that.
I guess, Miguel, you're closest. So, you guys all had such, like college success. You won quickly. You went to the finals. Can you just imagine how long, what it must feel like for a fan base to go 25 years like this one has without making a conference final and seeing the scenes outside? I don't know if you have how much this must mean.
Yeah, I think Josh showed me a video walking here, guys climbing up light poles and stuff. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. But great for them, happy for them. Obviously I'm new here, but just know how much New York loves their sports, and especially the Knicks. So, just so excited to be a part of it. And I mean, they enjoy it for us right now, but obviously we got way more to go. But happy for them.
I guess also for any of you, I know you talk about looking at the videos of what the fans are like outside, but it didn't look like a crazy celebration for you guys on the court today. Is that because this is a part of like a stepping stone, or?
Yeah, we just more to go. We're not done. That's just what it is. And we came out there tonight and play hard, handle business. But like I said, our season's not over. We got so much more to go, and I think we play on Wednesday, so get ready, prepare for them. Whole different team, and just a whole new series.
Hey, Josh, just for you, I know you've talked a lot about you guys coming out with good energy, bad energy, and what was the difference from your perspective tonight?
I feel like we just watched the film, and I think we were kind of discussing with our communication, our effort, our sense of urgency to start the game. So that's something that we knew we had to fix. We were able to get stops. We were able to communicate better in transition, and then get out there and play fast and have fun. And I think that was the biggest thing that we just focused on, was just our communication and defensive transition.
The series started, you guys were a pretty heavy underdog. Do you feel like this is an upset? And what is, I guess, to beat the defending champs, to send them home, what does this do confidence-wise for you guys moving forward?
Upset or not, whatever it is, we beat a great team. They obviously lost a huge piece, but regardless, the way they came out in Game 5, they knew that, they're still a great team. And so regardless of whatever anyone thinks, upset or not, we're just happy to come out the series with a win, and we're moving on. We got to prepare for another team.
You guys have all said at one point or another through this playoff run that you guys didn't think that you played your best basketball yet in the playoffs. Just today, was today the best basketball that you guys feel like you've played in this entire playoff run? And if so, do you think that this is something that's replicable, that you can take to the next series and repeat what you guys have been able to do tonight?
I feel like we played 48 minutes tonight, and just the way we competed and communicated out there, it's definitely one of our better performances. But I still feel like we have a long way to go. Just the confidence we have in each other and everything, and just knowing where we are, we're going to continue to be unsatisfied.
For Josh and Jalen, you guys were here last year. Tough loss to Indiana in the second round, 7 games. I know you guys were pretty banged up in that series too, but just, what do you think of that team going into meeting them a second year in a row?
Yeah, man, it's going to be a tough opponent. They push the pace. They run on makes, misses. And it's going to be a huge communication series for us. We're going to have to be locked in on every possession. We're going to have to get back defensively. We can build off this game. I feel like our defensive transition, our communication was great today, and that's something that we can carry into that series. But, different team, and we just got to make sure we're prepared.
Josh, you guys closed out the first quarter very strong, and that led into the second quarter. Can you talk about what was really the key for you guys to get that run? And then also, you had a turnover where you threw behind Mikel. Did Mitch come after you and say, why don't you throw him the lob?
Nah, Mitch ain't say nothing. I knew Mitch can't jump off one foot, so I didn't want to put him in that position.
You know, it's not like young Mitch when he was like super athletic. This is a little older Mitch. Yeah. But you know, for us, you know, biggest thing we got to end quarters right, and you know, I feel like that's something that we did, and we were able to pick it up in that second, get stops, run, and play Knick basketball. You know, everyone played well, everyone talked, everyone communicated, made plays offensively and defensively. So that's something that we preach all the time, is ending quarters strong, and yeah, hopefully Mitch finds a little more athleticism next time I got him.
Mitch has gone 6 of his last 7 from the line. Look at the fans outside MSG. We'll be back with more on this postgame show as the Knicks advance, beating the Celtics 119-81.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Lots to celebrate tonight for Knick fans and the Knicks as they blow out the Celtics 119-81. They stun the defending champs in 6 games. Next up, the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see you for Game 1. Our pregame show's at 7:30. And after the game, as will be the case throughout the series, an hour-long postgame show. Knicks into the conference finals for the first time since 2000. Big games all the way around. They win at 119-81. We'll be back with more after this. Karl-Anthony Towns, yes indeed. Knicks into the conference finals as they beat the Celtics. Jalen Brunson and Towns each had at least 20 points. Josh Hart had a triple-double. And 3 of these guys, plus Mikal Bridges at the podium.
Kat, I'm curious if you, during this 6-game series, if you feel like you learned anything about the group that you guys have, maybe something you wanted to see from the group that maybe it confirmed or something that presented itself that you didn't expect during the series?
I wouldn't say not expect, but, you know, when you're in these situations, especially in the playoffs, you know, we talk about that, you know, that New York grit, that unrelentless belief that we will never lose. And I think that this series, you know, when you want to go deeper into the playoffs, you have to have that, and we showed it this series. And I think that was really special for us. You know, in the last series, we showed, you know, we're able to finish games in the fourth quarter, and even the close games we'll find a way to win. But this series was different because we had ourselves in deficits that were, you know, 20 plus, and we still found a way to win. And that's a testament to these guys, you know, never not believing that we're going to win a game regardless of how the game is going, and regardless of the ebbs and flows of a playoff series or a game. This team has tremendous belief in each other, and we believe that anytime we step on the court, we have a chance to win.
This is for whoever. You know, I know the job's not done, but the hurdle that, you know, at least we were talking about in the media from the beginning was after consecutive years getting the second round to get into the conference finals. So how much personal satisfaction is it from you guys, if at all, to get to that point and clear that hurdle?
We're not the media. We don't believe in what y'all believe in. We believe in each other. We know we could do something special. And as long as the belief in that locker room is that, we don't care what anyone outside that locker room says.
Last one. Guys, since you're about the same age, I wonder who was the best at basketball when the Knicks last made the conference finals? Between you four.
I'm the oldest now.
Josh is the oldest for sure.
Hey, Vet. Shout out, Vet. Hey, Vet.
What was the question? Sorry.
Who's the best at basketball between you four when the Knicks last made the conference finals?
I mean, I'm just.
We were like, ooh.
How old are you, 29?
Probably me. I was the oldest. I'm the tallest, bro. What you mean?
Probably me. It had to be me.
Nah, bro.
20 and 20, the 5-year hop.
Jalen Brunson's getting ready for the Pacers. Back now from the corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. All right, guys. Pacers. Under the radar, Wally, a lot of the regular season. A lot of injuries to start. They're point guards somewhat polarizing, but since January the 1st, they've gone 42-16. We know the regular season is not indicative, Alan, of what we might see in the postseason, but the Knicks did take 2 or 3 from the Pacers during the regular season.
They certainly did. And remember, these two teams met in the second round last season, and the Knicks had injuries. It was Game 7 on this floor that the Pacers won, but the Knicks got a little bit of revenge early in the season as their new look with Karl-Anthony Towns. He had 21 points in that game. Mikal Bridges also had 21. So the new pieces that the Knicks picked up in the offseason, the first meeting with the Pacers, led to a 123-98 victory.
Yeah, and Halliburton had 0 points in that game in the first meeting. But then the second meeting, you go over to Indianapolis, and you saw the capabilities of the Pacers. Ben Mathurin, 38 big points. He's lighting it up from deep. His team can shoot from all over the place. That's going to be a big matchup to watch. Miles Turner can stretch the floor with his three-point shooting. And here's Halliburton with the step back. He had 35 in this one. So they came back on their home floor, put 132 on the Knicks, and got the second.
That was November. They didn't play each other again until February. And look at Karl-Anthony Towns once again, absolutely dominant, a 40-point performance. Yeah, flexing on him. And watch this pass here. Whoop, finds Josh Hart. Remember when Josh Hart said, I don't score 30 points? He had 30 points in this game. He was phenomenal. Karl-Anthony Towns, again, this is going to be very interesting now, right? The matchup in this with Karl-Anthony Towns and what he can do against Miles Turner. So this will be very interesting. But the Knicks won that one on February 11th.
All right, so that's a summation of what happened during the regular season. Of course, a storied playoff history between these two teams. They met in 2000. They met in 99. In fact, the last time the Knicks won the Eastern Conference Finals, they beat the Pacers in 99. Of note here, you want to look back to last year. Remember, Alan, last year's series, no Mitchell Robinson. Nope. Karl-Anthony Towns, obviously not on the team, and OG Anunoby got hurt early in the series.
Game 2.
Right,
Yeah.
so...
And remember, the Knicks were one shot from going up 3-0. That Nembhard hit that incredible three.
Yeah, the long 20,
right, that was
footer.
quite a battle that game. They could have been up 3-0. So that series was a battle until the injuries started to pile up between Anunoby's injury. Brunson got hurt in Game 7. Hart had that injury. I think it was in Game 4. And so by then, by Game 7, they were a shell of themselves. But this is going to be a very interesting series. Two teams that play, the Pacers play fast. The Knicks don't mind playing that way. They got Towns to stretch their defense. The bench, you mentioned McBride, T.J. McConnell, so many matchups on them.
And by the way, don't forget about Mathurin. He was not.
Yep, he was hurt.
He was hurt last year for the Pacers, and he is really good off the Pacers bench.
Yeah, and both these teams are healthy. That's a good thing. Eastern Conference Finals, both teams playing at a high level of basketball. This Pacer team, their depth is the main concern because they have guys that can step up and make plays all the way up and down their roster. Rick Carlisle is an experienced, outstanding coach. This is going to be one heck of a series. I just think home court is going to be huge. What the Knicks did at home, the way they felt that crowd and the way they put on a performance at home, for an opponent, when you start to hear that, that has to bother you. And if the Knicks can play at that effort level, the crowd is going to give them that extra push, which I think is going to be huge in this series, having home court advantage.
It's amazing. Again, Hicks versus Knicks, and the physicality of that series, both ways it went. Rick Carlisle, after Game 2, complained about the fouls, all that stuff. This is setting up to be one of those heavyweight fights you got to love.
All right, Game 1 is Wednesday. Pre-game 7:30, hour-long post-game after Game 1, and every game the Knicks play in the series. Whole lot to celebrate tonight, though. Can celebrate tonight before they get ready for the Pacers. Jalen and KP. Knicks moving on. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.